But how big is the talent gap or skill gap or production gap or quarterback gap or whatever metric you want to use gap? Like how big of a difference is it between Justin Herbert and Derek Carr? Because I used to think, okay, yeah, it's they got a way better quarterback. And now I'm like, maybe it's not as far apart as we initially thought. Again, let's not be slaves to stats. Let's just take a look. Passing yards. Herbert's 4th. Carr is 8th. He's got about not quite 400 more yards than Derek Carr, but he does have almost 100 more attempts. So Derek Carr averages 7.2 yards per attempt. Justin Herbert, 6.6, advantage Carr. Completion percentage. Herbert, 66.7. Derek Carr, 62.3. That's it. When you get into those numbers, 4%'s nothing to sneeze at. Advantage.
Yeah, that's a decent amount difference.
Advantage Herbert. Touchdowns, same. 20 for 20. Again, though, on 100 more attempts, right? So same, but advantage Carr because it's much less attempts. Interceptions, advantage Herbert. 7 interceptions to Derek Carr's 8. Again, 100 more attempts and still 1 less interception than Derek Carr, even though I love that number, Derek Carr, at this point in the season.
I like that 8 right now.
That 20 to 8. Oh, that is sexual. That is beautiful. Quarterback rating, almost basically identical. 92.3, 92.1. Minuscule difference. So, yeah, advantage Herbert, metrics-wise, stats-wise, but pretty close. Not that huge of a difference between these two quarterbacks stats-wise.
Yeah. Here's the difference that I see, and it's in the flow of the game. It's in the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that we've seen Derek Carr have to do what Herbert has to do every year with no real run game to speak of and have to throw that much and still win games consistently. And that's where the specialness comes into play. Not many quarterbacks can be this pass heavy in an offense and still win consistently.
Yeah.
Derek Carr, we've seen he's not like a unique little snowflake when it comes to this. Most quarterbacks do need a running game to help their passing game. Herbert has shown that he doesn't really need that. Again, I don't necessarily think the gap is that big as far as how they played. I think partially part of that is because the system that they're in. I think if Herbert had a better running game, it would free things a lot easier for him.
100%.
Yeah, but he's still putting up those types of numbers, even though he has to be a bigger part of the offense. And he had, his best receiver out most of the year, and his second receiver out some of that time as well. So he is.
In fairness to Carr's had his second and third best pass catcher out for bulks of the season too. So it's not drastic.
He's also had the best receiver in the league there. I get what you're saying. But
Herbert does have way more depth at his pass catchers than Derek Carr does.
He does.
But again, you'll never hear me say Devante Adams doesn't drastically change everything for a quarterback, clearly. But it's not, again, pretty close, right? His injury to pass catchers, our injury to pass catchers, not night and day, pretty close. So that was an eye opener for me. Like when I stopped to like really think about it, it's like I always just kind of brush it off, like, yeah, whatever, Herbert's better, fuck him, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Not that big of a difference. Not that crazy.
That big.
Will Herbert get his first big contract this offseason or the next? I keep forgetting. This is his 4th year or this is his 3rd year? Third full year. Justin Herbert, right?
No, I don't think.
Yeah.
Is it?
Because him and Burrow came in the same year, right?
Class? Last year was their 2nd year. So it's the 3rd year.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is his 3rd. So he might get his big contract this offseason.
I would do it as soon as possible if I was the fucking Chargers, dude.
Yeah. Especially if they like don't make the playoffs and it kind of doesn't like work out well, like that's your chance to go. But we might see like if Herbert gets some insane, like he's gonna get an insane contract. It's gonna be,
dude, him and freaking Lamar's gonna get one, and
Burrow, Lamar, and Herbert are gonna completely all like. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Derek Carr's his new contract makes him like the 7th highest paid quarterback. Like by next season, he won't even be top 10. With all these dudes are gonna completely break the quarterback, contract metric. It might be next season because obviously on a rookie contract he's so valuable, right? I bet you by next season, Herbert's cap hit to Carr's cap hit, Carr will be more valuable than Herbert. I think Herbert will still be better, but when you look at, he's getting paid 30% more, 40% more than Carr, is he 30 to 40% better production than Carr? I don't know. I think it'll be pretty. I think Carr will win that. Congratulations for making it all the way to the end of our video. If you want Darren Waller to catch 20 touchdown passes next season and for Max Crosby to have 30 sacks, go ahead and subscribe and click the next video.